Oh, we're empty, we're empty, we're empty, we're empty! Oh. Loud. Oh my god, I'm crying. My hair just went in my mouth. Oh god. Oh. Wow. That is so dumb. I'm so happy with that. Hello lovers, welcome back to my channel. So a lot of you have been asking me about pho. Pho Ga basically is the sister to pho ba, which is what you guys really wanted me to make, but I'm not there just yet, just because I need to perfect that recipe before I share it with you guys. So instead today we're going to do Pho Ga, so the chicken version of pho. Pho is a really traditional Vietnamese dish, pretty much the most famous dish in Vietnam. And it's actually not too hard to do. It's all about balancing that really beautiful broth. So let's get started. First of all, I've got this guy. We need to char off some vegetables. I've got a little plate to sit on top. So with the vegetables, what you want to do is kind of char off the skin, get it really toasty and brown and burnt. And then we're going to peel them off and chuck them in the bin and just use the inside. So the part that's kind of condensed, so all that flavor gets into the onion and inside into the ginger. I've got 2 onions here. I'm just going to slice off a little bit at the end. So with the onions, all I'm doing is slicing off that end, just so that we don't get that bit all burnt. I know we're trying to burn it, but at the same time, trying to do as much as possible not to make it too dirty. All right, heat on. Straight onto the heat. We're going to do the same with this second one. What you want to do is get it to the point where the onion is sweating and you can see little bubbles come out of it. That means that it's doing its job. Everything's happening. This is going to happen pretty fast, especially if you have it straight on flame like I do. So we're going to do that to the onions, and while that's happening, some ginger as well. I'm just going to grab a little knob. So about that much ginger, straight on. Make sure that I turn it so it kind of chars evenly. Sitting around a bonfire in your kitchen on like a bench top. The first time I did this, I was at my apartment and I set the fire alarm off. So that's fun. It actually smells like pho already, but I'm pretty sure that's because I can smell the onions, the ginger, and the spices. Speaking of spices, yeah, so we've got some coriander seeds here, just a tablespoon. We've got some cinnamon, just because I couldn't get any cassia bark. So cinnamon is from the cassia tree, it's just the cassia is the outside bark, the thicker, more woody part. We've got some black cardamom here. If you can't find black cardamom, you can use green cardamom. It's a lot stronger though. And also, if you can't find that either, leave it out. It's not gonna make too much of a difference. It's a nice rounded flavor when it's in there. But if you leave it out, you can probably still get away with it. Star anise, they're strong. We only want 2 cloves of them. I've got 3 here, but they're like kind of like broken cloves and like half bits and stuff. So 2 stars like of star anise. Again, cloves, really strong flavor. We only want 3 of them. Nothing. Pho Ga is quite mellow. Like obviously there's a lot of flavor there, but everything is quite mellow. It's not like a punch in your face curry. Anyway, back to the onions. I've lit my eyebrows on fire. Not doing this. I was infusing brandy into butter to poach some marin off in. It didn't flame, so I thought, oh, there must be so much butter in there that the alcohol's not going to burn off, which is fine. So I put a spatula into it, and then I kind of went to smell it and went. And as I turned it, obviously the alcohol caught and just went, and I was like, eyelashes are gone. Eyebrows stayed. I still had my eyebrows, but my lashes were like all singed. And my nose hairs. Not that I have nose hairs, don't look at my nose. Oh my God, can I just read you guys something? It's Corona time, yeah? No, wait. Let me just read you guys something. So it was Corona time when we filmed this, and I read the most blatant way of describing how Corona works. So, COVID explained in gay terms. You and 10 friends are in your apartment getting ready for a pride parade. One has glitter on them. How many of them end up with glitter on them? Like 6, like always. When one person has glitter, 6 other people will just end up with glitter on them because like you're close to each other. That's how COVID works. Like that is so genius. Anyway, look after yourselves. Back to the cooking. You know, when it changes, when like onions sweat and it comes a little bit see-through. The onions will do this thing where they'll shoot steam out, and it's happening on this side, but I don't know if I can you see it at the end of the onion? Yeah. That it's like there should be steam coming out of it? Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, that's like the juices from the onions kind of trying to leave. That means that onion's pretty much done. It's pretty burnt all the way around, burnt onion. I'm just gonna pop it into the same bowl as my rubbish, because what we're gonna do is peel it directly into that bowl. This one's pretty much done as well. That is definitely done. That is my ginger. Oh, I forgot my shallots. You forget shallots, don't worry. You don't have to have them on, but I think it adds a nice level of sweetness to this all. Peeling time. Now, we're gonna do that directly into a stock pot so that we don't have to double handle. We have 1 stock pot left. Loud. Stock pot. Onions, ginger, all that jazz. Now, what you want to do is you peel the outer layer off, like so. It should just kind of slip off. And then, you see how there's burnt layers here? You don't want any of these black char bits, because they will color your broth. Sometimes I even give this a quick wash to get rid of all the coloring. That does dilute the flavor a tiny bit, so I'm going to try not to do it. But if there's too much happening here, then I will do it. So you just want to peel off that one layer that's really charred. See, and that exposes the nice cooked outside skin of that onion underneath. So this really intensifies the flavor of onion. So this part, important, do it. All right, so there's a little bit of ash left. So what I am gonna do is just run it under the water just to get all that ash off, or the majority of it. The first time I did it, I was like, I don't get it. Like, why the hell am I making all of this beautiful caramelization on the outside and I'm just getting rid of it? But what happens is that flavor from the outside does tend to seep into the onion flesh itself. Even though you can't see the brown anymore, the flavor changes dramatically. Ready to move on. So I've got the ginger and the shallots here as well. Same thing needs to happen. So we just want to get rid of those blackened bits again. Nice little peel of the ginger. Into the stock pot. We're done here. Those are your aromats. We've got to just move on to the spices now. Very gently, I'm going to toast these guys off. So I just do it behind me. I'll get Lev to come around to show you guys. So maybe a 5, maybe medium heat. 5's about a medium. I don't know how this works. Let's bring it to 6, medium heat. There we go, that's definitely medium. Spices start to become really fragrant. You'll be able to smell them really well, and also they'll color a tiny bit. You don't want them to burn, so you don't want them to get to that smoking point where it's really, really smoking. A light bit of smoke coming out, okay, because that's kind of like the dry bits cooking off. But if it's really smoky, you probably burn your spices, and you really don't want that flavor in your broth. Medium heat, that's still not hot enough. We'll bring it to a 7. Medium heat, this goes all the way up to P, which is 10. I don't know what P stands for though. Party? Party! We'll put us into the party setting. Oh my god, I love that. P is now party. That is what we're referring it to from now on. P is party. Guys, if I always ever talk about the party setting, it just means the highest heat. Party, I love that. All right, so we've just dry toasted off our spices. That actually took a little bit longer, probably about 3.5 minutes. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want it to blacken, because if it blackens, it's bitter, it's burnt. We don't want that. These are looking heaves. I can smell everything. Okay, put this into muslin cloth. Muslin cloth is just something that like stops all the spices from falling out. You can get it from like most supermarkets. I don't have any here, so I've got a little tip. So I call these chucks whites. I just call them chucks. I don't know if in each different countries they're called different things. I call them chucks. What I do is I slice a little bit of that off. That becomes our Thai. Yep, maybe we'll do another one just in case. So, those are like our pieces of string now that we're going to use to tie this together with. But with the rest of this cloth, what I do is I just pour, sometimes I double it up. I might double it up today. Do I double it up? Yeah, let's double it up. We'll double it up today. We'll double it up. This is just to stop those brown bits from coming out of your toasted off spices, because what happens is, if they come out, they color your broth more, and you don't want satisfying ASMR, that kind of vibe. All right, if these kind of the particles from the spices come out of the cloth, then what it does is it colors your broth, and you want pho to be quite clear in color. So just let those guys fall naturally so that they don't take up too much space. Got a little piece of chucks. We're going to tie that up. That's loving it. That is loving life down there. We're going to tie that up. We're going to go around again. All right, this spices into your stock pot. We're going to add the diakon in as well. Diakon is like a turnip, a giant turnip. Yeah, so I'm peeling my diakon so I don't have to wash it. All right, so I've chopped up my diakon, little chunks. That's going into the stock pot. That's all good to go. What we're going to do is get onto the chicken, because that's going into the stock pot as well. So I'm going to move this over here. Chicken, boiling water. We're just pouring it over. What this does is it shocks the chicken. It also gets rid of the impurities on the chicken's skin. It's been cleaned up. Now, we're going to fill this up until it covers the chicken. This is about 4 liters. So it's just straight water goes in. Is I just move the onions and the daikon and things around a little bit, and what would happen is the chicken should just kind of be submerged now. Yes, and it is. All right. I'm going to turn that stove on to pea, so our party setting. So really, really hot, basically, really hot. As soon as this comes to the boil, as soon as you can see that the chicken is boiling, what we're going to do is turn it down to simmer and leave it to cook for about 35, oh, it's a big chicken, so maybe 40 minutes here, and then just leave it. My chicken and all the aromats are in my pot. It's going to come to the boil. Once it hits that boiling point, we're going to turn it down to the simmer. It's also really important that while it's cooking, every 10 or so minutes, you just skim the top, so you skim kind of the impurities off. While that's happening though, pho you always eat with some vinegared onions. It's kind of my favorite part. It's like a pickle, except it's not very sweet and it's cold. So it's a cold pickle. Whole onion, saving the other half for another recipe. So what you want to do is halve it. Gorge. Get rid of the outer layers. You're slicing this onion quite thinly. If you want it in a different shape, cut it into a different shape. It's not really that big of an issue. It's a garnish that sits on top, but it adds the acidity that you kind of want from this dish. Get rid of that end. Isn't it fun watching me peel onions? And then slice them and cut them and cry probably, because onions always make me cry. Does anyone have a tip for onions not making them cry? Because my onions always makes me cry. Like, it's starting already, I can feel it. All right, onions. We want them into that kind of vibe, you know, like just little slices of onion. My hair just went in my mouth. And now my eyes are watering. That's fun. And oh my God, I'm crying. Oh, if you have a tip on how to stop myself from crying. It actually doesn't make me emotionally sad, it just makes my eyes water. Eyes are still watering. These onions are just going into a vessel. The only reason that I'm using a jar is because I don't know where my cup measure is, and this makes it a lot easier. I got some white vinegar here. That's going in. We want a cup. 1 cup white vinegar. Half cup water. So, half cup water. Onions go in. Uh-oh. Oh, I knew that was going to make a mess. Half cup water, 1 cup vinegar, onions go in. Wow. Wow. This brings me back to MasterChef crying on camera. Got some caster sugar here. Oh, sorry guys. Wow, that onion is so potent. So you want a tablespoon of the sugar to go in. So a tablespoon, that's about a tablespoon. Just give it a nice little mixy mix. And yeah, we're just gonna leave that to just sit for at least an hour, at least half an hour. Should be enough to eat it. But I'll leave it for an hour because that's probably gonna be how long it takes for this actual dish to finish being ready. We'll just place that aside. Now back to here. It's starting to come to the boil. So when you're skimming, you're taking off the top bit. So every 10 minutes or so while this is cooking, get rid of it. You can get devices that will do this, as in like, it's like a little strap. Oh my God, it's right there. This skims. So it's like a really fine mesh, and that way you don't get so much of that liquid taken out, but you get all of those bubbly, white impurities, all of that stuff. So as you can see, there's the white foam that's now stuck on it. All right, so the chicken's been cooking for 20 minutes. So we took it to that boil point, turned it down. It's been cooking for 20 minutes. It's gonna need another 20, 15-ish. But what I'm gonna do now is add in the other aromats. So we've got some coriander. I'm just gonna put the stems, save the leaves for later. With the stems, oh, they're so fragrant. And the roots, they smell amazing, but if you put them in from the beginning, they'll break down too much and they'll become like mush and they'll go through the whole stock. So I added in a little bit down the line. That's just gonna go straight into your pot. Just lifts that whole flavor a little bit. It's time to season. So I've got some salt here. We've got 1, 2 teaspoons of that salt flake. Maybe we'll go a little bit more. 2.5 teaspoons of those salt flakes. If you're using a harsher salt like table salt, use less of it because it's a lot saltier. I'm also gonna season with a little bit of fish sauce. 2 tablespoons of fish sauce goes in. This gives it that distinct pho flavor as well. We're gonna leave that there. I'm gonna come back to you guys when that's ready. In about 20 minutes, I'm gonna pull the chicken out so it cools. So hold tight, it'll be 10 seconds for you guys. All right, so that's been infusing for 20 minutes. I'm gonna pull the chicken out now and let it cool down a little bit because I do need to slice it up, dice it up, do all of those beautiful things to it. So the way that you check to see if chicken's cooked is if you just pierce it with a knife. So somewhere along the bone. Let's go through here. I've gone all the way through. If the water or the juice that runs out is clear, which it is, then your chicken is cooked. All right, I'm gonna leave that to cool down for about 15 minutes while that continues to simmer away. It's gonna keep infusing with all the beautiful aromats, and then we're gonna pull this guy apart and then I'll serve up for you. All right, so it's been 20 minutes, the chicken's cooled down. I've got some other things that will go with the dish, but first I'm gonna portion up this chicken. Broth is still going, by the way. Got a little tea. This always takes a little while, so I'm all set up. So with the chicken, what you wanna do is if you don't actually wanna do things like this, you can obviously buy the chicken legs with the bones in if you just want to eat the leg meat or the breast, so you don't have to actually break down a chicken. But this makes a lot more flavor. So if you do choose to do things like use leg meat or breast meat instead, get some carcasses, chicken bones or chicken wings, and cook them in with the broth so that you don't lose out on that flavour. But basically what I'm doing is just breaking down this chicken now. I like having the dark meat, and because it's a little bit chewier usually, because it needs to, I don't know, there's a lot of fat there, so it holds on to everything better. And then you've got the breast meat, which is quite soft. So what I'm doing is just, my hands are washed, is just removing the meat from the bones. It's never glamorous. So we might not even show you this because it's not glamorous. We might still put it in though, like, I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see what we like.
Yeah, so basically taking that meat off the bone. It would just come off, like if I pulled, it would just come off as well. This is heaven. The bone part is like what my sister and mum fight over all the time. There's just so much flavour there. It's sweeter. The meat's sweeter because it's attached to bone. All right, that's the leg meat. We're just gonna slice him up. This might seem weird to you guys, but I'm guaranteeing you this is how they do it. In the pho places that you guys get, they'll be breaking down the chickens just like I am. We should do an episode where I just do really gross things like this. Yes. Like we should just do one video where it's just 10 minutes of me doing really gross things and like, look at how glamorous this is. Do you guys want that? Do you want a video of me just doing weird kind of stuff that's not very appealing? Like, is that a thing that people want? Because I think it's actually quite funny. Not really my vibe, but anything for the views, right? With the breast meat, I like it when it's sliced rather than pulled apart. Don't know why. Time to assemble. It's not pho unless we use one of those giant bowls that every Asian woman has. Hi. We're in here now. Mum loves her giant pho bowl. We call it a soup bowl, but like, seriously, who's eating this much soup? Look at this. It's my head size. Size of my head. Huge bowl. I've got some pho noodles, so just buy some from your Asian supermarket. So these are flat rice noodles. They're just going straight into the bowl. There was a lot of them there, as you can see. I'm gonna lay some of this beautiful chicken meat into the bowl as well. We're gonna put some of this beautiful chicken meat that we've pulled apart into the bowl as well. I've got some bean shoots. Then, see how it's like a little bit tinge of yellow, but it's quite clear still. That's what you want. Couple of ladles of this through. You can actually strain all of this off if you want to, but the flavors continue to develop if you just leave it all in there, and we always do. So maybe 3 ladles of this will seem adequate. Maybe 4. 3.5. It's a big bowl. Nah, 4. So there's 4.5 ladles of my broth. I've got some coriander here, the tops that were left over. Just gonna give that a nice little slice. A little bit of curry, never hurt nobody. Unless you don't like curry, then it probably does hurt you a little bit. Obviously, you're gonna need this guy, the Thai basil. He is heaven, he is gorgeous, he is amazing for pho. Onions that have gone all pickly and sour and delicious. Sweet, sour, salty. Got a long red chili here. Give that a nice little slice. Now, this is the sacrilegious part. The part that people don't, that are 50-50 on. Sriracha, hoisin sauce. A lot of people just dip their proteins into this. Nah. I'm gonna use this to dip my protein. if you're watching this, let me know. Do you use sriracha and hoisin your sauce? Because when I go to a pho place, I go crazy on these two. Hoisin. Oh, you thought that was enough? No. Hoisin. Little dollops of hoisin. Not gonna lie, when I eat this, I'm probably gonna add even more hoisin sauce in. But for now, we're looking good. All of this is how you make pho. Come have a look. Come deep in. You can see the clear broth sitting at the bottom with a little bit of the fat from the chicken. Oh, so yum. If you do this a different way, let me know. I want to know all about it. If you like this video, please give me a comment, a like, a subscribe, all of these things. If it's your first time here, then hi, I'm Khanh. That was really weird, but it's fine. Hi, I'm Khanh. This is my recipe for chicken pho. You all have been asking for it. Give it a try yourself. It's going to be in the link downstairs, down below, is a link, sorry. The link below will take you to my book. It will also take you to my website. It will also have the recipe for this dish and my Instagram page. Check all of that out. There's heaps of information, heaps of recipes on there. And I will see you next time while I devour this. Bye. So I said bye to you guys, but I realized I haven't eaten the pho, and you probably wanted to see me eat it on camera. So we're just gonna shoot this quickly, and then we're gonna come back and I'm gonna eat it. All right, we've just shot the dish, so it's time for me to actually eat it for you guys. I'm eating crunchy bean shoots, which I don't like. Oh my God, these smells. I know it's all messy now, but this is how you eat it. You mix everything up. Holy shit. This is so yum. I just want to be alone with this, so bye.